Hello, hello, JD Grauspitz here, lead singer and streaming talent of Malignant Bear, and today we're coming at you with a quick look at the game 20 Minutes Till Dawn. This is a new early access title, just came out on Steam a couple days ago, at least at the time of recording this, and it's in the same vein as Vampire Survivors. It's a bullet hell where you're the hell, and you're battling against, in this one, looks like Cthulhu's minions. They kind of look like some brains and things. It's a very dark and gritty game, but it's fun and addicting just in the same way Vampire Survivors was. But we're going to look at it and see how they compare, and just get some footage of it. I'm just planning on showing a little bit of the game, not doing a full run of it, but it is fun and I have done quite a few complete runs. So, without any further ado, here's what this looks like. So this game has a very muted color palette. It's just kind of darker colors, and then with some splashes of red for yourself, and then some of the projectiles that the enemies have and some of the bosses. Right away, I can say that I do have some issues with this game, namely this. You can only do this in increments of 25%. So to actually adjust the footage for this to capture this, I had to tone it down in OBS to make it not be the loudest thing ever. But anyway, other than that, this game's excellent. So we're gonna look at it a little bit here. So you have a couple different characters you can play as. At the beginning of the game, you only have Shanna unlocked and the revolver. So that's all you start with. And then as you play, you get your runes up there in the top right, and that's how you unlock other characters. And you unlock these as well. So every time you do a run, regardless of how you do, you get some of this currency so you can spend on things like this. And then you have this nice little skill tree here. So you can only have one thing in each row for sword or shield, depending on what you want to do. And it's all just passives that improve the gameplay for you. So for example, this one is, 2% more fire rate and reload rate based on rank. And some are a little bit more involved. So this one, you start with a passive Holy Shield. We'll see that when we jump in, which is really good. And in this one, you heal a little bit every time you level up, or every 5th level rather, and you gain some more XP. And rather than the kind of health bar system that Vampire Survivors has, this game has a heart system. So most characters only have 4 HP. Diamond starts with 7, but some of the other ones have 3 or 4. So every character has a different passive or ability that they have, and obviously they look a little bit different as well. But it's hard to tell in-game because they're just little sprites on the screen. But again, the game's art style is interesting, and we'll talk about that more when we get into it. So Shanna can reroll upgrades when you level up, which is cool. Diamond has more health. Scarlet can shoot out fire. Hina can summon shadow clones. Spark does lightning damage. Lilith can summon bats when things die. And Abby can shoot wildly in every direction. And then each gun is different as well. So any character can use any gun, which is cool. But let's see. Let's go with Abby and the bat gun. And whenever you play, you have the option of standard mode, which is a full 20-minute game, or quick play mode. So quick play is only 10 minutes, and you get faster XP gain, and you have different difficulty settings as well. So you unlock more difficulties by beating the game in standard mode, so lasting the full 20 minutes. And then you can see as you go up, you get harder and harder things with the darkness levels that you're doing. So we're going to do a quick play here, and hopefully we'll last the full 10 minutes. I know the thumbnail says 20, but quick play. We want to keep it short. So darkness level 1, small enemies spawn more often, which is good because we'll have more things to kill. So each character, in addition to having different passives and looking slightly different, also has some different upgrades that they'll get as they go through. So you can see here, this is Abby's passive. Like I said, it lets you just shoot out your gun randomly in any direction. Nice little reload animation there. So we're just shooting off these bats kind of randomly. And we want to pick up the things they drop to level up. We kill these enemies. Let's see here. You can see our XP bar there in the very top middle of the screen. Alright, our first level. So all of these regular passives that you see are shared among all the characters, but you want to think about the build that you're going to do based on your character and your weapons. Because the thing that is different among the characters, other than their starting passives, is the boss upgrades. There's bosses at set time intervals in the game, there's only a couple of them, but every character has different passives that bosses grant them when they kill them. and that can completely change your build depending on what you want to do. So for example, Diamond, the second character in the list there, she has more health, and a lot of her passives that she gets from bosses are based on she gets buffs the more damage she takes. So you want to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe take some hits, get some buffs that way, but then you can also plan your build with some of these passives to get things that heal you as well. The game has guns, which obviously you start with, also has summons. So there's a couple in the game. There's this little dagger that rotates around you. There's a dragon, and this one's interesting in that the dragon takes 3 minutes to hatch. So you might not want to do it in a quick play like this. And then there's another one that's a little ghost that summons, that spits out things when it's surrounding you and everything. And different characters have different bonuses to summons. For example, Lilith has a lot of passives that increase her summons. So, and you can see here there's where it says unlocks here. So if we start with this, we can get some other ones later on. So if you get haste, then you'll unlock the ability to pick up blazing speed later, or run and gun, or in the wind. So you can kind of start planning your build out there. So we start with Holy Shield because that was one of the things that I picked up from leveling up. So it protects us from one hit, takes 2 minutes to regenerate. And then because we have that, we're picking up Divine Blessing here. So we have faster reload and move speed while we have Holy Shield active. And eventually we'll get shorter regen on that, and the ability to have lightning come out. So in addition to the guns and the summons, there's elemental damage in this game. Right now there is fire, cold, and lightning, and all of them are very strong, to the point where I wouldn't be shocked to see them nerfed a little bit, because beyond like darkness level 1 or 2, you're pretty much going to be relying almost exclusively on that. There's some fun builds with guns and bullet upgrades and things, but later on in the game, just you're relying almost entirely on elemental damage and summons. So we're gonna get Divine Blessing right now, though. So you can see here, because of our passive, we're just shooting out the full clip, or you could sit here and just shoot them this way as well. But again, we have that neat passive playing as Abby, so we're going to utilize it. So you might notice the game is very dark. It's actually a little hard to see what's happening, not just on the capture window, but in the game as well. And you might be thinking, boy, that's kind of terrible. I think it's an interesting design choice for the game. Some of the upgrades that you can get, and of course we don't have one now, I was going to say one of the upgrades that can randomly spawn is that you increase your vision radius, which is how much you see in the game, and then your vision radius can also damage enemies as they get close. But the simplistic graphical style also adds to the difficulty of the game, because you can see the enemies just sort of blend in. They match the background very closely, whereas you, with the red either in your hair or an article of clothing, whatever the character might have, you pop out a little bit, so you're a little bit easier to see. But then that goes for the projectiles from some enemies as well. So the art style, the simplicity, adds to that level of difficulty, which I think is cool. It's not just simple for the sake of being simple or lazy. It's simple as a gameplay aesthetic. So we're gonna skip the dragon again because this is a shorter map. So we'll do the ghost friend instead. Summons a ghost friend that shoots piercing bullets for 22 damage. So you can see the ghost friend there. Bumping into anything just does 1 point of damage. So, or in our case, we will lose our holy shield, and we don't want to do that. There's not a whole lot of enemy variety in the game, especially on the 10-minute version, because instead of it just being kind of sped up to last the entire game, it's just the first 10 minutes of the full 20-minute game, which is kind of an interesting design choice. Any of the achievements and things or unlocking other difficulties you cannot do in the shorter game, but it means the shorter game is a way to just kind of build up the currency for your upgrades to unlock those runes and more characters and things. Completing a 10-minute game nets you, at least, I'm trying to think here, around 6,500 of the currency, which is pretty good. You can get a couple upgrades that way, and especially early on in the game. So you can see here we can increase our vision range, and enemies within that range will take some damage. Can shoot a little faster, move a little faster, call down some lightning, do more damage. We want to go a little faster. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of enemy variety, like I said, especially in the 10-minute version. You're just going to be fighting these squids a lot, and then the ones that explode. So Most of the time, you cannot damage yourself. Enemies can damage each other, well, like when the squid things explode here, as you can see. They will hurt each other, knock each other back. The only way you can damage yourself is with the grenade launcher. And one of the achievements in the game actually is to play as Abby, the character we are now, with a grenade launcher, and survive 20 minutes without ever firing your gun, just doing the spin thing instead. I was not able to complete that. It's quite brutal. Let's see. So some upgrades have a little give and take. So for example, this one is increased bullet speed, but then you spread less. So for example, if you picked the shotgun as one of the weapons, you would have less bullet spread that way, but they'd shoot out a little bit faster. So you might want to think about what you want to do based on the weapon you're finding. But let's go with rapid fire. We want to spin to win even better. And this game is addictive in the same way Vampire Survivors is. You just kind of want to, you know, play one more game, try out more builds, just see how much further you can go. All that stuff. I've seen some complaints already of this game. Again, this has been out for less than a week at the time of me recording this, and some people are already saying that it doesn't have as much content as Vampire Survivors. And of course, because Vampire Survivors has been in early access for more than 6 months at this point, and has been getting bi-weekly updates. It has a ton of content. For something brand new to match that would be a little absurd. But I think this is a very strong foundation for a game. So let's see. Your bullets have a chance to inflict burn. That same one again. Your pickup range is increased. Your walking speed, so when you're not shooting or spinning in our case, you'll go a little bit faster. Reload rate and your fire rate. Start doing some fire damage. So this bat gun is interesting in that the bats that it shoots out double dip. They count as both summons for those upgrades and bullets for those. So that makes this weapon very, very strong. I've already seen some people saying that this is pretty much the only way to progress any further in the game, is to get good at this. So you can see we bumped into something, we lost our holy shield, so we're going a little bit slower now. Alright. So here we have a choice of 2 upgrades for the ghost. Summon attack speed 50%. Because that should buff these. Yep, so they're flying around a little bit faster now. Again, because they count as summons, which is cool. That was a close one. You do get some options for healing. It's not a whole lot, and it's things you pretty much have to spec into. So basically don't get hit unless you're going for a build where you have to. The game has a decent amount of achievements for completing it, obviously. Again, not quite as many as Vampire Survivor, and you don't unlock anything with them. They're just classic achievements in that style. There's some very difficult ones, though, and pretty much all of them require you to beat the game on Darkness 15, which is the hardest setting at the moment. So, bullet bounce and fire rate, but less damage. Max ammo and bullet speed and fire rate. We'll go with this one. See if we can get to our first boss. I'm trying to remember when it spawns. There it is. So you can see it's just a different flavor of squid. The second boss that comes is a centaur kind of thing. And when it spawns, it actually ropes off part of the map and kind of tries to fight you in a small area, and it'll keep charging at you almost like a minotaur. It's very difficult, but I want to kill this so we can see the kind of specialized upgrades that it offers. Again, we want to try to keep this short. So double shot, +1 projectiles and more spread, but less bullet damage. So you can see 1 shot is shooting out 3 bats instead of just 2. You can get some very wacky builds going. Again, there's some fun synergies and things that you can find. And in addition to the ones that you can find based on your skills, there are some other ones here in the game as well. So if you look into these specific skills, you can get some other upgrades as well. There's not a whole lot of them. Again, the game is still adding content, but there's enough here to keep you entertained. And I think it fills a niche of its own in that it is a little shorter. Even 20 minutes obviously is shorter than Vampire Survivors. And it doesn't have quite as much build variety as that, but in a way, it maybe has more, because Vampire Survivors is a game that you can solve very easily. Once you figure out what works in that, you pretty much can never fail. Whereas this, there's lots of different options, and the randomness of it means that you might take a little longer to figure out the stuff that works that doesn't work for you, and then based on your character and weapon and everything. So let's see here. No, lightning. So obviously the downside of this character and gun is that we can't target our attacks. So Make It Rain doubles how fast Abby fires during her special skill. So you can take or leave upgrades. So again, you might want to make some choices there. Maybe you don't want this for some weird reason. Now we're very fast. You can kill these trees. They don't damage you when you hit them. They might knock you back though sometimes. But you can kill them. It's just very hard to. You can see we're already maybe a little bit broken. Abby's pretty strong. But again, just check out some of the other upgrades here. So when lightning strikes an enemy, there's a 20% chance to automatically refill 3 of your ammo. So you can figure out some kind of basic synergies and strategies based on this. So there's a couple different ways to add lightning damage, including a character that does lightning damage by default. And one of the weapons that you can get is an SMG that shoots very quickly. So if your SMG does lightning damage and can automatically refill your ammo, you can kind of do the math that you will essentially have infinite ammo at a certain point. It's really fun and cool. So let's see. Plus to vitality, so you can see some of the things here. So when you get hit, you get some bonuses that way. Heal HP every 90 seconds, so you can kind of think about that. Maybe I want to take a hit, get that massive bonus, and then hang tight and heal for a little bit. I like this one, it makes you a little bit bigger and slower, but get some more HP. So we'll go with Firestarter. Twisted Firestarter. So you can see here we're shooting out fireballs now every 4th shot, which is very fast because of how fast we're going. And that goes where the cursor is. So even though we're shooting randomly, the fireballs are not. So we can still have some target that way. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and actually die on purpose, because I don't know if I'd be able to otherwise now. Just so we can see how that looks. And then we'll end it there, because again, we want to make this a quick look. Oop, there's the centaur. So you can see he was blocking off the arena there. So the currency you earn is based on your survival time, the number of enemies you've killed, and the levels you've earned. It doesn't actually explicitly say that there for some reason. But it gives you a nice opportunity to just go ahead and try again from right here, or go back to the menu. Game has a couple different language options as well. But again, it's fun. It's Vampire Survivors, kind of. I don't know if this genre has a name yet. Action roguelike something, maybe? I don't know. It's fun. I enjoy it. I'm glad that there's more games like this as well. These are the perfect time wasters. I'm hoping someone will make a very good version of this, or one of them, and port it to phones. That would be the ideal waiting room game for sure. But yeah, 20 minutes till dawn. It's pretty fun. And just like Vampire Survivors, it's a budget title. That's the other good thing about this genre, is that they're all pretty cheap. They're simplistic and fun and just enjoyable. Always nice to have more games like this. But yeah, 20 minutes till dawn. Definitely recommend it, even in the early access state. Now this was maybe a little longer quick look than we wanted. Didn't quite make it to 20 minutes, either in-game or in this video. But that's okay. I enjoyed it and hope you did too. And until next time, have a good one.